Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I just want to talk a little bit about the new game by Supermassive Games, The Quarry. I just got done playing it, and have a lot of things I want to talk about. Let's get into it. So essentially, kind of a little bit of a backstory. I have my first Supermassive game was Until Dawn. Came out a couple years ago on the PS4, and at that point I was a big fan of point-and-click adventure games. I love the Walking Dead game by Telltale, and all their games, which essentially are, I feel like basically the same deal. Same deal. They follow the same script per se. You are walking around a semi-open area. You are collecting clues, trying to figure out if you can find things that could possibly interact with the story. And things you do in one episode can affect the episodes going forward. Sometimes in small ways, sometimes in pretty big ways. One of the things I really love about the Supermassive games, which they've done Until Dawn, and the Dark Anthology, which have been great games in my opinion. 1 and 2 kind of were hit and miss. 3 was fantastic, and I'm super excited for their new game, The Devil and Me. I believe that's what it's called, coming out later this year. And it's going to be the end of Season 1 of the Dark Anthology. What I love about these games is that, first and foremost, the detail in these games, the character models look great, and for the most part, the acting's pretty good. The environments are amazing. The music they pick is pretty good too, and the stories are, for the most part, pretty great. So when they announced that The Quarry was coming out, their newest game, which they even said is the closest they're ever going to get to a sequel to Until Dawn, and essentially the spiritual successor, I was super excited. And then I started playing it. And I've played one playthrough, and I can honestly say that I'm a bit let down. That it's not a bad game per se. I definitely don't think even some of the lower quality, even some of my least favorite Dark Anthology games are still good games, I think, but definitely a bit of a letdown. This was their first, game that was going to be designed for the PS5. You can get it for PS4 as well, but I was really excited to see what this game could do on the PS5. And first and foremost, the good things about this game. The graphics are fantastic. I think that for the most part, the character models are incredibly well done, almost photorealistic. The environment, same deal, incredibly detailed. The music, the soundtrack, the sound effects, everything in this game, I think, is fantastic. What I have a problem with is the acting in this game. That I don't know if maybe it's just because I'm getting older, like I'm 30 now, and when I played Until Dawn, I think that was like, oh god, like 5-6 years ago, if I remember correctly, when that game came out. And I just think the dialogue in this game is incredibly cringy. I think a lot of the characters are terribly acted. I heard a lot of the voice work in this game was ad-libbed, so I don't know if maybe that was the cause of it, but the acting in this game is some of the worst I've ever seen in a video game. Like, take a B-rated horror movie, like that type of dialogue, and just dial it even further down. Characters are needlessly mean to each other for whatever reason. The choices they make are incredibly stupid. I remember so many times yelling at my TV, "What are you doing? Do this, go there, reload your gun, close this door." Just stuff that, because they had made such stupid decisions, led to their deaths. And I know this is a video game, and one of the bigger things about this game is that the choices you make can impact the game later on. And I think that is one of the stronger points, is I feel like, unlike the previous games, this game really does change depending on what choices you make. I made a decision in an early part of one chapter that led to the death of a character in a later chapter, even though I had no idea why it led to that. Basically, for long story short, every character in my game died by chapter 10. And there's only 10 chapters in the game. So I was this close to finishing the game, but then all my characters died. And my last two characters died because the choice was either make a run for it while the monster was looking the opposite way, or two, go into the freezer, which me, having watched so much TV and so many movies about people locking themselves in the freezer, I thought that was a terrible choice. So I said make a run for it. Nope. Monster got me and killed my two characters. Now, I'm not going to say what the monster is because I don't want to spoil anything. But the choice of monster even is a bit odd. It definitely feels like you had the previous monster in Until Dawn, which, I mean, at this point, if you don't know what it is, sorry, it was a Wendigo. Now, not a lot of games, at least none that I can think of, would have ever portrayed a Wendigo or have portrayed a Wendigo in their horror game, which was super cool. And I feel like Until Dawn, Supermassive games, yes, they have a name, have always had really interesting premises behind their game's main antagonists. There's always been an explanation for everything. And sometimes it's supernatural, sometimes it's not. And this time, I just felt like they went with a safe bet. They didn't really kind of go out. They didn't think outside the box with this one. They just kind of went with a safe bet. Not bad. It just, I was expecting a little bit more, and maybe that's just myself for expecting too much. Another thing with the game is that it takes way too long for anything to really get started. The game can be finished anywhere from about 7 to 10 hours, depending on if you're just beelining it straight for the ending or if you're really exploring. And that's what they want you to do, is look around the area, exploring everything. It even becomes a walking simulator at times, with nothing to do except just walk down this area. Because of that, it takes usually, sometimes I've heard people saying it takes like 3 to 4 hours for anything to actually get started. And because it takes so long for anything to get started, I genuinely was bored for the first half of this game. When it takes half of the game for anything to get good, and in that time you're just trying to introduce yourself to the characters, which, like I said, I think are some of the worst characters they've put into any of their games previously. Everyone's just needlessly mean to each other. I liked some characters, and unfortunately those characters kept having bad things happen to them. Some of the acting in this game, like this character here, I can't think of his name, but I loved him in the movie Detective Pikachu. He is the worst actor in this game, by far. His character model sometimes looks like he's looking straight off into the distance, even though he's supposed to be looking at someone and talking to them. He talks so monotone. He talks like he isn't really enthusiastic. I don't know if he's supposed to portray the brooding, like, character, but I just think he went a little too far into it. And look at him. Doesn't even look like he's making eye contact with him. He looks like he's just looking straight upwards. This is actually one of my favorite characters, Dylan. I like Dylan. The three characters I actually liked in this game: Dylan, Abby, and Jake. Only because I relate to Jake in some ways. You know, I've been strung along by a woman in my time. But the acting in this game is just not on par. And for them to say this is the spiritual successor to Until Dawn is very upsetting. That I feel like they could have done more with the characters. By the end of it, I really didn't care if certain characters... Brenda Song is in this! Sorry I didn't mention that earlier. Brenda Song is in this. I loved her as a kid. She is horrible in this game. Like, as in, she is just a terrible human being in this game. She's mean to everyone. It's just... I don't know. Oh yeah, other thing, they dumbed down a lot of the gameplay aspects. In the previous game, like Until Dawn, when you were doing these QuickTime events, you had to press multiple different buttons, you know, like A, like the triangle, circle, square, X, R2, L2. In this game, it is literally just one command. It is wait till the circle gets a little closer to the icon, and then flick your thumbstick in a certain direction. Like, it just... I don't know. it just feels like they really wasted some potential with this game, and I feel like it just wasn't ready. I feel like it probably could have benefited. The AI in this game also is not that great too. Like sometimes I'll be walking and I'll see one of my other characters like straight up walk into a wall or a staircase, and I'm trying not to. As you can see, that it's skipping a little bit. I'm trying not to spoil anything. I'll put a link down for the person who actually did this gameplay down below. But I don't know. I was genuinely bored. There was a lot of times where I was watching the cutscenes and I was just so cringed and bored. I would put the controller down and look at my phone until another prompt would come up. And this wasn't the case with Until Dawn. Until Dawn, you could... Stuff started happening usually about 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours in. This game takes double that. Now they did they added a new feature called Death Replay, where it unlocks if you complete the game, well, when you complete the game, and then it will, or you could buy the digital deluxe version and get it. But essentially, it allows you on your second playthrough, or your first playthrough if you get the digital deluxe, to essentially rewind a person's death. So if somebody dies, you're like, oh crap, I want that person to live, you can rewind it and save that person. You only get 3 of these. So that's pretty cool. The game is about, like I said, 7 to 10 hours. And like Until Dawn, when I beat that, I immediately started another playthrough, and after a couple hours into the playthrough, I realized not a lot of major stuff was changing. This game, I feel like there is more branching paths, and there is more reason to go back and play it. But I'm also just so mad at the game for being... Like, half the game is boring. The characters are terrible. The gameplay is dumbed down. It's just... Why? This was their first entry on the next-gen systems, and this is the best they could have done? I still think it's a solid game, but for $70 on the PS5... I don't know. Especially with inflation going on right now. For me, after my first playthrough and just my general experiences with this game, I would give this game about a 7 out of 10. I think it is still a good game because I love multiple choice games where you could replay them over and over again. But the thing that holds this game back is that the beginning part of this game is absolutely boring. Characters make stupid decisions. Characters say incredibly cringy dialogue. They're, in my opinion, most of them are terribly written. It fell short. But I will eventually replay it again. It does have couch co-op, where you and a friend can play this together. I do want to do that, and that might actually change my feelings about this game, but until then, this is just kind of a misstep. Maybe my opinions might change later on. I gave it about a day or so before I made this video, but what do you guys think? Have you played the Quarry yet? Let me know in the comments down below. What did you think? What do you think about my opinions? Let me know. Let's start a discussion. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? I'm trying to hit 500 by the end of the year, and I am almost to 150, so that'd be really awesome if you could help this young man who just lost his job can get up to 500 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.